Hello and welcome everyone. I hope you're doing great. I'm so happy and excited to be teaching you another lesson. الدرس ديال اليوم كيف ما كتشوفوا في السبورة فكيهضر على المودلز. اجي نهضروا على الدرس هذا وغادي نفهموه ان شاء الله من الاول حتى للاخير. بقاو معايا. To start with, we need to understand what do we mean by a modal verb. فالمودal verb is an auxiliary verb that can be used to express different things including عندنا ability او لا permission او لا البوسيبيليتي او لا النيسيسيتي. فكنلقاوه في الجمله ديالنا كاوكسيلري فيرب اللي ممكن يتستعمل باش نهضروا على وحده من هذه الحالات هذو كيف ما غادي نشوفوا. So if we take the example of Alan can swim. Alan can swim. عندنا هنا المودال فيرب ديالنا اللي هو can and it is used to express the ability. اللي خاصنا نعرفوا ان modal verbs ممكن يكون عنده بزاف ديال المينينغز واللي خاصنا نعرفوا ايضا انه whatever follows, like the verb that follows the modal verb ديالنا is always in the simple form. يعني أنه كيكون في الانفينيتيف without to. So كيكون عندنا simple form. فما كنقولوش Alan can to swim ولكن كنقولوا Alan can swim وبطبيعة الحال ما كنصرفوش فكيبقى كيف ما هو. Which means I cannot say Alan can swims. That's wrong. ما كياخدش الاس ديال singular في الكيس ديال simple present. In order to understand better, let's classify the modal verbs into categories. So the first category أو الكاتيجوري الأولى اللي عندنا هي modal verbs of ability. كيف ما كنعرفوا فالمودال فيربس كنستعملوهم باش نعبروا على بزاف ديال الحوايج كيف ما شرحت في الاول. In this case غادي نهضروا على المودال فيربس اللي كيبينوا لنا القابليه او لا الابيليتي. In this case عندنا can, be able to and could. I repeat, can, be able to and could. In order to understand better, here is each one in a sentence. باش نفهموا اكثر ها هو كل modal verb اللي هضرنا عليه في وحده من الجمل. For example, I can meet you now. I can meet you now. جملة واحدة أخرى, he's able to speak 5 languages. يعني أنه قادر يتكلم 5 ديال اللغات. And then she could drive. She could drive. اللي بغيتكم تركزوا عليه هنا هو أنه is able. فهنا قلنا be فدائما كنصرفوا is. He is able to. إلا مازال عندك مشكل في الفيرب تو بي فممكن ترجع للدرس ديالنا اللي تكلمنا فيه على الفيرب تو بي وغادي تلقاوه في البلاي ليست. In any case قلنا be able to يعني انه في بي كنديروا التصريف ديالنا. الا كان for example هنا you فغادي نديروا are. You are capable ولا you are able to speak 5 languages. So all these modal verbs في هذا الكيس هذه are used to express ability. Let's repeat the sentences again. I can meet you now. I can meet you now. He is able to speak 5 languages. He is able to speak 5 languages. إذا كانت you فغادي نقولوا you are able to speak 5 languages. You are able to speak 5 languages. She could drive. She could drive. ولا he could drive. If you noticed, in the case of he and she, I didn't add the s. We don't do that. So I cannot say he is ables ولا she could's ولا she could drives. She could drives. This is also wrong. I cannot say he could drives or he can drives. This is wrong. So as we said, after the modal verb, we always use the simple form of the verb ديالنا. يعني أنه بحال اللي غادي نديروا الانفينيتيف without to. فما كنصرفوش معاه وما كنزيدوا معاه حتى شي حاجة اللي كتبين tense including s ولا ed إلى غير ذلك. فكيبقى لنا غير البيس فورم ديال الفيرب ديالنا. So she could drive وماشي she could drives وماشي he could drives. كنتمنى انكم ما ديروش هذا الخطأ هذا. So these sentences are in the affirmative form. Now I would like to use them in the negative form. فإلا بغينا نبدلوا هاد الجمل هادو في negative form فكيفاش ممكن ندير هاد الشيء في المودال verbs ديال ability. It's very simple. So I use not. So for example here I cannot, alright? I cannot and then we link it, it becomes one word. So I cannot, all right? I cannot meet you now. I cannot meet you now. He is able. Negative form is he's not able. He's not able to. He's not able to. And then she could drive. She could not. Okay? She could not. So as simple as that in order to make the negative form. يعني أننا باش نصرفوا الجمل ديالنا في النيجاتيف فورم فكنزيدوا not after the modal verb. أجي نعاودوا باش نفهموا أكثر وأيضا باش نخدموا شوية على pronunciation. فعندنا I cannot meet you now. I cannot meet you now. He's not able to speak 5 languages. He's not able to speak 5 languages. She could not drive. she could not drive. Alright? So in order to use the negative form we add just not, as simple as that. بغيتي دير negative form أو تبدل شي حاجة من affirmative للنيجاتيف فغادي تزيد فقط غير not after the modal verb ديالك وهكا يولي عندك negative form. Okay, now I would like to ask a question using modal verbs of ability. Now I would like to ask a question using modal verbs of ability. How can I do that? هادشي هذا سهل. إذا بغيت نطرح سؤال بطبيعة الحال بالمودال فيرب ديالنا فكيف ما كتعرفوا فالقاعدة العامة كتقول أنه إذا بغيت نطرح سؤال I start with the verb and then I use the subject ولا في هذه الحالة ديالنا pronoun after that. So for example غادي نقول Can he speak 5 languages? And do not forget the question mark. So, can he speak 5 languages? Can he speak 5 languages? هكا كنطرح السؤال فكيف ما لاحظتوا بديت بالمودال فيرب ديالي هو الاول وعاد درت موراه السبجكت وبطبيعه الحال عندنا الكومبلمنت ديالنا. Let's practice again. عندي هذه الجمله هذه He is able to swim. He is able to swim. Now I would like to ask a question using this sentence. What can I say? Okay, it's your turn. حاول انه ديرها نعطيك 5 ديال الثواني. 5 4 3 2 1. اوكي سو كيف ما قلنا فغادي نبداو بالفيرب ديالنا في هذا الكيس هذه عندنا الفيرب هو is هو الفيرب to be sorry and then عندنا subject so is he able to swim question mark of course is he able to swim so اعتبرنا ان الفيرب to be في هذا الكيس هذا هو الفيرب وماشي able to كلها So, بدينا بالverb to be هو الأول is وعاد درنا subject ديالنا وعاد درنا able to swim. ما يمكنش نقولوا is able he to swim is able he to swim no that's wrong. Is he able to swim كان هو transformation ديالها. Same thing with could إلا كانت عندنا he could swim السؤال غادي يكون could he swim could he swim could he drive Could he speak 5 languages? As simple as that. So ديما تفكر انه باش دير transformation من affirmative form ل question form فخاصك تبدا بالverb ديالك هو الاول وعاد دير موراه subject. Now let's talk about the second category of modal verbs واللي هما المودال verbs اللي كيعبروا لنا على possibility. فكاين 3 may, might and could. May, might and could. فإذا لاحظتوا could استعملناها في الحالة الأولى وكنستعملوها حتى دابا. And this shows that modal verbs can have different meanings. I have some sentences here that show the modal verbs of possibility. The first one is it may snow tomorrow. It may snow tomorrow. يعني أنه كاين واحد chance أنه غدا غادي يكون ثلج كيطيح. He might finish his work today. He might finish his work today, like he has a lot of work, and there is a possibility he can still finish his work, even though he has a lot of work. يعني أنه كاين إمكانية ديال أنه يقدر يسالي الخدمة ديالو كاملة وخا عنده بزاف الخدمة. كنتمنى له التوفيق. وعندنا بطبيعة الحال آخر جملة واللي هي I could still go for a walk at night. يعني it's at night. It might be possible that I can go for a walk, maybe if I'm bored or if I cannot fall asleep easily, so I will go for a walk. يعني there is a possibility there. So these are the modal verbs that are used to express possibility. And we have here some sentences. Just as a reminder, يعني باش نتفكروا قلنا انه باش نديروا النيجاتيف فورم فكنزيدوا فقط not after المودال فيرب ديالنا فغادي نقولوا it may not snow tomorrow. He might not finish his work today, and then I could not still go for a walk. So this is how we make the negative form. And then for the question form, we do the transformation that we talked about. So we start with may. May it snow tomorrow? May it snow tomorrow? Might he finish his work? Might he finish his work today? And then could I still go for a walk at night? So درت هادو بسرعه لانه هضرت عليهم في الحاله الاولى فنفس الحاله باش نديروا نيجاتيف فورم كنزيدوا not وباش نديروا كويشن فورم فكنديروا ترانسفورميشن يعني انه كنبداو بالفيرب هو الاول في هذه الحاله المودال فيرب هو الاول بعد كنديروا موراه السبجكت ديالنا وبطبيعه الحال ما تنساوش the question mark. هادشي اللي كاين بالنسبه للمودال verbs of possibility. اهم حاجه هو انه تحفظهم. Try to memorize them so that you know the difference between different kind of modal verbs that express different things. Now, the third and the last category of modal verbs في الدرس ديال اليوم اللي هضرنا ولا اللي غنهضروا عليهم هما بطبيعه الحال modal verbs of permission. Alright? So, modal verbs of permissions can be may, could, and can. As you can see, still some modal verbs are used to express different things, all right? So you would see them in permission, possibility, ability, etc. So here I have may, could, and can, as I said. So usually you would use these modal verbs to ask for permission, يعني أنه باش تطلب الإذن بواحد الطريقة اللي هي لبقة ولا مؤدبة. So the first sentence we have here is you may use my car, which means you're giving permission to someone to use your car. Second sentence is you can study with us. It's like you're giving someone the permission to study with you. يعني كتعطي permission لشي واحد أنه يخدم ولا يوجد الامتحان معكم. And then you could borrow my book. It's like you have the permission to borrow my book if you want. Usually these are common in questions if you would like to ask for permission in order to do something. داكشي علاش غادي نلقاو may I, in this case, may I use your في هذه الحالة هذه. May I use your car? And then can I, it can be also you, I don't know, can you study with us or can I study with you? Okay, can I study with you? And then could you? في هذه الحالة هذه وراه هضرت عليها في واحد الحلقة ففي هذه الحالة هذه borrow غادي تولي lend. Okay, could you lend me your book? Could you lend me your book? Could you lend me your book? Alright, درنا لنا واحد transformation واحد شوية ولكن المعنى راه واضح. So you're asking for permission to lend the book of someone. And then of course the negative form as we said before. So it will be you may use my car, you may not use my car. You may not use my car, which means you don't have the permission to use my car. And then you cannot study with us, maybe because you're a bad person, كتضحك بزاف كدير المشاكل داكشي علاش you cannot study with us. And then for the third sentence the negative form would be you could not borrow my book. You could not borrow my book because I'm sure you will destroy it ولا you will not return it back. داكشي علاش ما غاديش نعطيك الكتاب ديالي. So كانت هذه هي the third category of modal verbs or modal verbs of permission. There are a lot of modal verbs, but I tried to be like concise and talk just about the ones that we use a lot. بطبيعة الحال كاين بزاف ديال المودال verbs وكاين بزاف ديال الاستعمالات ديالهم، ولكن حاولت انني نلخص الدرس ديال المودال verbs اللي هو درس كبير بزاف فقط في اهم الاستعمالات ديال المودال verbs وبطبيعة الحال في الاستعمالات اللي غادي تحتاجهم انت كمتعلم او لا طالب ديال اللغة الانجليزية. The most important thing is that you memorize these modal verbs، يعني انه حاول تحفظ هاد المودال verbs هادو. and of course حاول انه تحفظ الاستعمالات ديالهم وبطبيعه الحال غادي دير التمارين اللي غادي نخليهم لك في صندوق الوصف. هذه حاجه مهمه بزاف. ما تنساش انه تشوف الحلقات اللي فاتوا من الانجليزيه للمبتدئين لان احنا ماشيين من الاول في تعلم اللغه الانجليزيه مع بعضياتنا. اذا ما تنساش انه تشارك هذه الحلقه هذه مع اي واحد كيتعلم اللغه الانجليزيه. وبطبيعه الحال احسن طريقه اللي ممكن تدعم بها الفكره ديال القناه بالانجليش هي انه تخلي لنا واحد لايك وسبسكرايب الى مازال ما مشتركش معنا في القناه وتشوف الحلقات اللي فاتوا وان شاء الله الحلقات اللي مازال غادي ندير. Thank you so much for watching. It was my pleasure to explain another lesson. I will see you next time in بالانجليش. ما تنساوش كيف ما كنقول ديما بالانجليش او لا الانجليزيه المبتدئين. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye. ديما تفكر انه باش ديما تفكر انه Now, the third and the last category